Hugh Grant and Eddie Izzard with Jonathan Ross later at 1. Also a bit later than Build now on BBC One. Today's Football League highlights.
Good evening. The Football League programme may have been hit by the weather, but not this one. Despite 13 games being called off, we'll have the best of those which did go ahead, including the 3 Championship clubs who this week waved goodbye to their managers, and the League One side who named their physio as their full-time boss. Plenty then for Steve Claridge and Gary Speed to discuss, and plenty for you to text and email Lizzie about. Lizzie.
Yeah, this is the place where you get to set the agenda. Whether your game was on or off, send us your stories of the day, your footballing funnies and your questions for Gary and Steve. Text us on 81111 or send us an email to footballleague@bbc.co.uk.
Thanks, Lizzie. Here's what's coming up tonight. Nottingham Forest would go level with second-place West Brom if they beat Preston. Mind you, Preston could go into the playoff places if they win. Confused? You will be.
I think I need to lie down after that lot. Good job. I've been spending the day with a new Tranmere manager who is also still the club's physio until they can find a replacement. Whoa, steady, Les.
Relax, Clem.
And as it's our last show before Christmas, we thought we'd bring you the best and worst bits of the season so far.
When they did go forward, all credit to the back four and the keeper they cropped with. Take 2.
First, though, nobody has lost fewer games in the Championship than Nottingham Forest. They're on a fantastic run under Billy Davies, who today faced his old club Preston, who are used to being in and around the playoffs, but began the day in 13th. Mind you, it's so tight in the Championship, a Preston win could see them move into the playoff places. Martin Fisher is your commentator.
Forest, the informed team of the Championship right now, with another chance to demonstrate their promotion credentials against a Preston side that has lost its way of late, but hopes to be back on track after returning to winning ways a week ago. Forest boss Billy Davies enjoyed 2 excellent seasons at Deepdale and includes 2 former Preston players in his side. Kelvin Wilson in defence and skipper Paul McKenna, who spent 13 years at the Lancashire club. Last week's goal hero, David McGoldrick, makes way for Rob Earnshaw in attack. He got a hat-trick in his last game here. Billy Jones returns at right-back for Preston after recovering from an ankle injury. John Parkin drops to the bench to make way for Chris Sedgwick. A new system for Alan Irvine today will see Ross Wallace play just behind the lone striker, Chris Brown. Well, it's 11 seasons ago now that Nottingham Forest last dined at the top table. But there's growing belief in these parts that they're finally on their way back to the Premier League. Billy Davies still urging caution, but he's always done that. And in this league, he's usually delivered. Twice he took Preston to the playoffs. And he took Derby all the way some 3 seasons ago with a win at Wembley over West Bromwich Albion, who are one of only 3 sides above Nottingham Forest in the table right now. 2 years at Preston for Billy Davies. Finishers of 5th and 4th. Twice they made it through the playoffs, losing out to West Ham in a Wembley final in 2005. Nottingham Forest starting the day just 3 points behind West Bromwich Albion in 2nd spot. To significantly close that gap with victory here today. It's Billy Anabola. Earnshaw making his way to the box. Anabola goes down. Strong shot for a penalty, but referee Fred Graham disinterested. Anabola got there first, and Jones with an untidy challenge. It is bitterly cold by the banks of the Trent. Forest can build again with Shorey. Majewski. Phil drills it in towards Anderson, who let it run. Chaplow back there, Jones cannons it against Chaplow, and Forest gets another corner. Not quite panic stations yet, but Preston certainly looked uneasy for a moment there. And it's the Pole, Branislav Majewski, to take this corner for Forest. Their third of the game. Morgan is up! Side netting. And again, Andy Lonergan came, then went back onto his line. Good lead here by Wes Morgan, who scored 2 in his last 3 games here, and certainly has the scent of goals in his nostrils at the minute. Showed too much of that to McKenna. Very challenge by the midfield rivals there. Cohen, Earnshaw, angle's not favourable. Such is his confidence in the moment. He went for goal. He looks offside from that picture. Gets the benefit of the doubt and wins the corner off Neil Collins. Cohen will take it. Again, it's deep. Monaghan has got something on that one. Now as far as McKenna. Oh, McKenna! Against his former club. His first goal for Nottingham Forest. It just had to be. It had to be against Preston North End, the club where he spent 13 seasons. Monaghan's punch. First touch took it out of his feet. Chanced his arm, and that's the outcome. Paul McKenna gets Forest in front on the corner hour mark against his former club, and Lonergan could not get across in time. And there's the reaction from the former Preston manager, the man that brought McKenna to the City Ground in the summer. Chilvers. Wallace couldn't get hold of it. Preston have only managed 1 win in their last 8 games. That came last week against Plymouth Argyle. I've been hoping that that would just get them back on the right track. They are being outplayed at the moment by this buoyant Nottingham Forest side. Both Forest fullbacks like to get forward. Shorey has found Earnshaw, who looked offside and was offside. Nice finish, mine, wasn't it? Good approach work by Shorey. Well, it's tight, isn't it? Looks level to me as the ball is released. Evaded the challenge of Collins and put it away with real aplomb. Adebayo. McKenna always free and available, and rarely gives the ball away. Morgan. Fabulous ball. Anderson. Trying to take it in behind Jones, and the fullback forced to concede another corner. Preston at the moment just hanging on in there. Forest with their 5th corner. Earnshaw taking it short. Majewski. In by Shorey. 2-0! Adebayo couldn't miss. And Forest back in the goals again. 5 last time here against Leicester. 4 against Doncaster the previous time here. The Forest fans have seen 2 already. Adebayo here goes in completely unnoticed. Chaplow late in getting off the line, and Adebayo gets his 3rd goal of the season, and Forest in cruise control. Jones. Here's Brown for Preston. Good run this. McKenna needs to come across. Simple toes there by Chris Sedgwick. It's his former teammate at Deepdale who eventually stopped him in his tracks. Preston's first corner with 33 minutes on the clock. Forest have already won 5. The home side have brought plenty back to defend this. Forest has taken it short, gets it back from Tom. It looks too deep, and it is. Chances to test Lee Camp have been few and far between this evening for Preston. They really need to do better than that when chances present themselves. Forest more than happy to let the Preston back four have it, knowing that they can't hurt them. In comparison, Forest passing is so much more accurate and crisper. And here they come again. Earnshaw. Will it be another corner? No, but Forest can come again. Majewski. Going for goal! And Lonergan leaping to his left in desperation, fearing the worst. Majewski going for goal here, trying to bend it into the far corner, and very nearly finding the back of the net. That's nice from Chaplow. Wallace closed down speedily by Chris Gunter. Clearance. Childers. Wallace. Clearance was by Shorey. No free kick. Cohen for Earnshaw. Nice touch, Majewski. That's a lovely ball. Anderson in behind Jones. Anderson! Good stop by Lonergan. And the rebound favours Preston 0-0. Excellent counter-attack by Nottingham Forest. Morgan stretching, couldn't get there. Wallace. Brown just inside the penalty area. That will be a foul. Cohen on the Scotsman. Six in the box for Preston. Wallace to take. Forest can't get it away. Sedgwick back for Chaplow. And away by Wilson. Not very far though. Can't save. Good stop in the end by the Forest keeper, who just lost his way when the second ball came in. Hold up play by Sedgwick. It's a teasing ball in by Chaplow, and it very nearly ran Preston's way there. Wilson's clearance was not the best. Camp called into action for the first real occasion this evening. Preston are preparing two changes. And the two forwards, Parkin and Mellor, are ready to come on. Meanwhile, it's Forest with Adabola. Earnshaw waits far post. Cohen will try and find him here. And has done! What a save by Lonergan. Playing is up against Earnshaw anyway, but Lonergan wasn't to know that. They seem to strike Earnshaw here, just ahead of the final defender, Childers, who slipped as he tried to clear. Davidson. Davidson will take it. On the turn, that's nice. And Mellor! Well, the sub with a clear side of goal there. And really should have tested Lee Kemp. Best move that Preston have mustered all evening. Still 2's the good, but Preston will feel that a goal back, and they're right back in this one, but they've lost it there. Tong slipping on the ball, robbed by Adebola. Earnshaw, look at Cohen, bursting on this left-hand side. Looking for Earnshaw, what a ball, Earnshaw! Great stop by Lonergan. Vital save by the Preston keeper. Well, it all stemmed from this slip by Tong. Adebola snapping up the loose ball. Earnshaw aware of Cohen's presence to his left. The ball's slightly behind Cohen, but it's a great return pass. And Earnshaw just trying to dink it over Lonergan. Davis will be keen to dampen expectations of the supporters, but the evidence is there for all to see. Nottingham Forest unbeaten in 14 games. With 4 wins out of their last 5 in that run. We're getting a little stretched at the moment. Sedgwick puts it on the plate to Gunter.
Well, we're obviously very proud. I think it's the best run that the club's been on in 30 years, so I think from that point we're delighted and very, very proud of the run we're on. It was a really difficult game tonight. We knew that they would make it tough. We knew we had to be patient. We scored some good goals. And it is a very important 3 points.
Alan, obviously you'd be disappointed, but in the end the better team won, I think.
I think so. They're very good. They've got a terrific team and a terrific squad. You see the power that they've got on the bench, and you know the players that are sitting in the stand as well. So Billy's built a very strong team here, and they're playing extremely well at the moment. They've won their last 2 home games very convincingly, and they deserve to win today.
I genuinely do feel that this season's all about trying to get a strong mid-table position if we can. If we can do that, then from where we came from last season, it would be excellent progress. Don't forget as well, about 70% of this team in this squad tonight fought relegation last year. So, you know, it's good progress, but are we ready for the big league yet? Not in my opinion.
Well, that's interesting. Billy Davies says he's clearly not interested in promotion. I mean, Gary, what do you reckon? Is he playing... Are these mind games? Because that was another impressive performance from Forest.
Yeah, I think he's taking a bit of pressure off the players. I think they've done ever so well to get where they are at the moment. So at the stage of the season we're at, you know, he doesn't want to heap too much pressure on them. I think that is a little bit of that coming out, you know, saying, keep doing what you do. Nobody expects us to be there. Keep going. And there's a bit of psychology by him there.
Do you think as well it might be, I'm not ready for the Premiership after what happened?
Well, he says we, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think deep inside, I think Billy Davies, he's done a fantastic job there. He's brought in 8 or 9 players of his own, and you looked at Alan Irvine mentioned it there. Look at the bench. They've got a very, very strong bench there.
It's quality strike to begin with from Paul McKenna against his old club.
Yeah. I mean, how many times does that happen? Play going back against his old club. It's a fantastic strike. And Forest, we played them a few weeks ago, and they came to our place, and they played a different type of game. They played not to get beat. They played to keep a clean sheet. You know, poor marking there from Preston for Dele Adebola's goal. But at home, they play with a bit more freedom. They pass the ball really well tonight, and you know, away from home, they're unbeaten away from home. If you stay unbeaten away from home, keep clean sheets, and you're playing like this at home, no wonder they're third in the table.
Yeah, he has got a good squad, and the goals are being spread around. I get a feeling though, Lewis McGugan might get a bit of stick for this goal celebration.
He's very proud there. Look, he's very proud, and pride becomes Before what? There you go.
Yeah, well timed.
It was a good finish, to be fair to him.
It was. They are pleasing on the eye, Forest, aren't they?
Very, very. I mean, if you're going to play the way they do, particularly at home, as Gary said, away from home, they've got designated jobs. Even the forwards have jobs to do defensively. But look at the passing, what you get here. I mean, it's a fantastic flick, it's a fantastic touch, there's constant movement. If we have a look, I mean, every time a pass is made, it's passed into someone's path. OK, so they're constantly on the move. This is all about movement and options on the ball. Now, everybody looks comfortable, even when they're in tight areas. There's options there. First-time ball when it needs to be. Every time we see the ball pass, it is in front of someone. No one stops to receive the ball. And that's why you can attack with the pace that they do. And in the end, as you said, they work it from one end to the other. And Preston, in all honesty, didn't get anywhere near them.
No. Forest were helped, weren't they? I mean, Preston, not great at the back.
No, they weren't. I mean, they never at any stage did they really put enough pressure on the ball. But, you know, Forest are not a team that you should give time and space to, because that's what they can do to you.
Yeah, I mean, it'd certainly be a well-deserved Christmas for Forest and their fans. Best run in 14 years. Now, another team battling towards the top are Swansea, who are looking to get their first ever win at Sheffield Wednesday to cement their place in the playoff positions. The Owls, of course, parted company with Brian Laws this week after losing their last 4 games.
Sean McCauley, on the right here, took charge at Hillsborough for Sheffield Wednesday's clash with Swansea after the departure of Brian Laws. And McCauley's stint in charge couldn't have got off to a worse start. Just 5 minutes played, and Swansea's Darren Prattley beat Wednesday's offside trap for his 3rd of the season. Wednesday, without a win in their last 9 league outings and without a goal in 5, pressed hard for an equaliser. Jermaine Johnson forcing Doris de Vries into action. Paulo Sousa's men have scored less than a goal a game in the Championship this season. Prattley scored 2 in last month's victory over rivals Cardiff, and he got his 2nd at Hillsborough to double the Swans' lead and to double his total for the season. McCauley's men did rally after the break. Substitute Franny Jeffers denied by some heroic defending from Swan skipper Alan Tate. There was no way back for Wednesday, the Owls going down to a 5th consecutive league loss, 6 matches now without scoring.
They played with the hearts and they ran around, made tackles, tried to make things work, but there was a lack of, you know, playing with the head.
When we got the 2nd goal, mentally they coming a little bit down, and we got the profit of that. We control better the game, and we get it what we deserve, and we get it for what we were doing in the week.
Reading chairman Sir John Medeski has hinted that stand-in boss Brian McDermott may be a potential long-term option following the departure of Brendan Rodgers. McDermott's first test was a trip down the M4 to Bristol City, and it was a trip in the penalty area. Nicky Maynard fouled by Jay Tabb. Paul Hartley with the decisive penalty to put City in front. There was a symmetry to Reading's record going into this match, 21 points from 21 games and 21st in the table. Gylfi Sigurdsson had a chance to level, Bradley Orr with the block. Reading may have deserved an equaliser, but again Sigurdsson was foiled, this time by Dean Gherkin. So McDermott brought Simon Church on as a second-half substitute. Church had earlier been booked for his reaction to the City penalty while on the sidelines, but the change paid dividends in stoppage time, a goal, and then a 2nd yellow card for the celebration. A short but dramatic cameo from Church to save a point for Reading.
It's disappointing because, you know, the first booking was Church was off the pitch, and the second one, I think that someone pushed him into the crowd. I think and his momentum took him into the crowd. I don't think he ran over to the crowd deliberately, so I think he was very, very unfortunate.
I still can't believe how you can get punished for celebrating, but it's as I say, for me, it's another learning curve, and I've got to learn to keep it controlled.
Queen's Park Rangers supporters were hoping for a good start for yet another new manager. Paul Hart appointed this week as the successor to Jim Magilton less than a month after he left Portsmouth. And the Rangers players were eager to make a good impression as well. It didn't take them long. Michaeli Ledgerwood scoring against his former club after only 88 seconds. The Blades have been on a good run of late, 6 without defeat going into this one, and it didn't take them long to respond. A bad pass from Ben Watson, followed by a touch of good fortune for United. Casper Gawkes' clearance turned in by Richard Cresswell. Adel Taarabt has become a popular figure in West London since his loan move from Tottenham. The Moroccan went close there to restoring Rangers' lead. These two teams will meet at Bramall Lane in the third round of the FA Cup next month. United had a great chance to go ahead before the break in this one. Jamie Ward off target though. Deep into stoppage time, Ben Watson got the chance to make amends for his earlier error. Wayne Routledge with the cross, and Watson so close. 7 unbeaten now for Sheffield United, Paul Hart having to make do with a point.
Well, Sheffield United unbeaten in 7. Gary, you won't need reminding of that. But what is it like, say, preparing for a team like Queen's Park Rangers, who've changed their manager almost at the last minute? Does it change your preparation?
It doesn't change preparation, but you've got to switch the players' minds on knowing that the opposition are playing for the places, playing for a new manager. It's happened to us twice this season. It happened to us against Peterborough, which we managed to win. But again, it was QPR played well today, and you know, at the end of the game, we were thankful for the draw. The last 20 minutes, they were putting us under pressure. But it is difficult when a new manager comes in like that, and you know, it's just one of them things. It's bad timing, really. Yeah, we saw Sheffield Wednesday there, Steve. They're now looking for a new manager. It's a great job for somebody whoever gets it, really. Oh, it's a magnificent job. I know, I mean, there's talk they're a little bit, you know, finances are a little bit tight, but still, I mean, if you get that club going, it'll get over 30,000 people. It's a magnificent chance, and let's be honest, expectations now are such that, first of all, first brief is to keep them up, and then after that, I mean, you can go anywhere with a club like that. It's a fantastic opportunity for someone. A word for Simon Church, who you know, obviously, from your Welsh connection, Gary. Eventful day for him, wasn't it? He gets booked while he's on the bench for mouthing off at the linesman. Yeah. He scores a goal, and then he gets booked for a celeb. Scores a great goal, by the way. He doesn't over-celebrate here. And, you know, he goes to the crowd a little bit. It's the last minute. He's come off the bench, he scored the equaliser. And I hate to see that. I hate to see players get booked for that, because you're scoring a goal. There's no better feeling than scoring a goal, and you want to celebrate it with your own fans. It's different if you'd have gone to the other fans, but, you know, he hasn't really gone into the crowd. Some of the other players have jumped into the crowd, but, you know, it's, you know... Are we in danger of taking the fun out of the game? Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, I think we saw Ross Wallace at Blackpool for Preston the other day, and he didn't even leave the pitch, and he got booked, and you're thinking, well, what you supposed to do? So, you know, it's very difficult and very unfortunate when that happens. A little harsh done by, perhaps. Yeah. Now, although Crystal Palace began the day in 14th, they were, however, just 3 points off from the playoffs. With several Palace players hit by a bug last week, they were hoping Barnsley were the ones feeling worse for wear come the full-time whistle.
Unbeaten in the league since late October, Mark Robins' Barnsley have been enjoying somewhat of a renaissance of late. Rock bottom earlier in the season, they travelled to Crystal Palace in fine form. 'Tis the season for giving, and Barnsley gifted their hosts a golden opportunity to take the lead early on. Ryan Shotton with the foul on Victor Moses. Darren Ambrose has been in good goal-scoring form this season. Not that time, however. Palace gave their Yorkshire visitors another scare soon after. Barnsley keeper Luke Steele with the acrobatics to deny Clint Hill. The Tykes turned in one of their best displays of the season last week against Newcastle, so no real surprise then when they took the lead 19 minutes in. Daniel Bogdanovic showing a cool head to score his 4th league goal of the campaign. Moses was proving to be a handful for the Barnsley defence. His shot well kept out by Steele, but it was a sign of what was to follow 6 minutes into the second half, with a contender for goal of the season. The Palace teenager showing exactly why he's been linked with a high-profile move from Selhurst Park in the new year. It could have been 2 for Palace soon after. Bobby Hassel close to turning into his own net. And the visitors could have stolen the points late on through Emil Halfredsson. Barnsley now unbeaten in 7. Derby and Doncaster went into this match full of festive cheer as they've both moved away from the relegation zone recently.
Come on, Derby!
Crucial to Donny's good form has been the goal scoring of Billy Sharp. The striker, on loan from Sheffield United, showed confidence and composure to score for a 6th consecutive match. The celebration appropriate considering the weather. That confidence is running right through the Doncaster team right now. Mark Wilson attempted the spectacular, Stephen Bywater had to be at his best to make the save. Doncaster hadn't conceded in their previous 3 games. When Derby did breach the well-drilled defence, Neil Sullivan was on hand to foil Rob Hulse. 3 minutes of added time had been played when Bywater attempted a quick throw-in for Derby. And when James Coppinger got the ball, the result was almost inevitable. That's 4 wins in a row now for Doncaster. Sean O'Driscoll delighted with his on-loan and on-fire striker Sharp.
He was probably not enjoying his time at Sheffield United, not playing, and he's a Blades fan through and through, so to come down the road to us and get his career back on track helps him.
Plymouth Argyle's woes were temporarily forgotten this week as the West Country city was named as part of England's 2018 World Cup bid. More pressing matters at hand for Paul Mariner's men as they welcome Coventry to home park. Argyle have won only 4 league games at home in 2009, including a 4-0 victory over Coventry in April. Even Leon Barnett couldn't believe he missed that opportunity to put the Sky Blues in front. Freddie Eastwood's hat-trick last weekend ended a run of 10 matches without a win for the Sky Blues. And it was the Welsh international who broke the deadlock 18 minutes from time, heading in the cross from David Bell. Coventry heading for a very important victory. Plymouth did come close to an equaliser when Carrie Arneson saw his effort cleared off the line. But it's 5 successive defeats now for the Devon team. However, Paul Mariner saw plenty of encouraging signs.
I think the goalkeeper was pretty busy. I thought the defence was pretty busy, and also, I didn't think Rowe had too many saves to make. So, a great goal by them, but obviously not very good from our viewpoint.
It's been a worrying week for Watford as the club teetered on the brink of administration and a 10-point penalty until a deal was reached on Friday night to pay off a loan to former chairman Jimmy Russo. Peterborough boss Mark Cooper said this week that his team needed to turn London Road into a fortress. First they had to turn it into a venue that could stage the match. And all that hard work was rewarded inside 10 minutes. A perfect pass from George Boyd to set up Lee Frecklington, and the Championship's bottom team were ahead. The Hornets did manage to draw levels soon after half-time. The home team couldn't clear Tom Cleverley's free kick. John Eustace with the equaliser. Cleverley, on loan from Manchester United, did well to make a chance for himself soon after. But posh keeper Lewis prevented his team going behind. Only once in the last decade has a team bottom at Christmas avoided relegation from the Championship. Peterborough seemed desperate to avoid that position. 12 minutes from time, Exodus Gohagan put Peterborough ahead. His first goal for the club since joining on loan from Cooper's former side, Kettering. There was still time for Watford to go close, but once again Lewis was up to the task. A first victory for Mark Cooper, Peterborough off the bottom.
6 games in, and we've got our first win, and I feel it's been coming. We played okay today, went 3 up front, caused them a few problems. We had a bit of a wobble just after half-time, but no, I'm really pleased.
Yeah, a good win for Peterborough, especially the first, that is for Mark Cooper. But let's talk about Crystal Palace, though. Got an equaliser against Barnsley, Gary. Now, if I was a Palace fan, I'd be slightly frustrated. Neil Warnock has come out and said, I'm surprised Premier League clubs haven't come down, had a look at Victor Moses, maybe take him off our hands. But you'd think, hang on a minute, we want this if he's our best player. Why doesn't he stick it out at Selhurst Park?
Yeah, I think he's certainly on people's radar. He's an excellent player, he's creative, he can score goals, and this goal here is a fantastic finish of a player who's full of confidence. Yeah, it's strange that Neil's come out and said that, and you're right.
Maybe they need the money, I don't know.
Perhaps they do, I'm not too sure, but he's good talent, he's young enough, so I'm sure he'll be on people's radars, definitely.
No, look, it's well known that they're struggling for money. They were late paying their players not so long ago, and if you've got to put somebody in everyone's eye. The problem is with young players, they're very much in and out. Like I said, he played against you, didn't play well. He plays again today, looks fantastic today. You're not quite sure what you're getting because the consistency levels aren't always there.
He's very young.
He's on his day, like he had today. He's very, very good.
And I mentioned Peterborough. It's their first win in 8, first under Mark Cooper.
Yeah.
I mean, you look towards the Christmas time, don't you, to see where the teams are come the shake-up in the league. Yeah. Can Peterborough stay up?
Yeah, of course they can. I mean, it's a league that gives you every opportunity to get in the top 6 and certainly to get out of the bottom 3. And they'll think they're on their way, and it's desperate for him to get his first win, and he's done that. And now they're hopefully. They might have turned the corner.
And I've got to ask you, on behalf of Doncaster fans, they want Billy Sharp, won't they, from Sheffield United?
Yeah, he's on fire, Billy, at the moment.
What, 8 and 8?
Yeah, he's doing really, really well. And he's
you want him back soon, don't you?
Yeah, he's gone there and he's found his feet, and he's like you say, his confidence is really high. So he's banging them in. So. Good news for Doncaster fans or Sheffield United fans.
Donny are doing brilliantly, aren't they?
They are. Sean's a good manager, so they play some great football, so good luck to them.
Right, let's hear from Championship fans then, on the emails and texts. Lizzie, to you.
Thanks, Manish. Well, firstly, I've got to say sorry to all Owls fans. I know I've got a Sheffield United bauble, but I promised the man I met at the Sports Personality that I would feature that tonight, so there you go. And if you've got a bauble for your club and you want to send it in, send me an email and put bauble in the subject bar. Right, let's move on. Let's talk about Nottingham Forest, because I've had lots of fans hailing Billy Davies as the best manager in Britain and saying they're definitely going up, including Graham, Jack, Michael and Kurt. Kurt says, are people going to take Forest seriously now? Andy and Heather say Billy Davies has made us hard to beat with goals coming from all positions. Don't count us out of automatic promotion. And Darren says, I can remember when Lee Camp played for Burton Albion and let in 7 goals on his debut. He's come a long way, but not a good day for Preston fans. Ben says, we were absolutely terrible today. We had no coordination and no end product. Jack, who's a Palace fan, said, I was at Selhurst Park today and I got hit on my head with that shot and goal from Victor Moses in the 23rd minute. It was the best moment of my life. Thomas says, I just want to say well done to Reading for getting a point at Bristol City, as we've lost our manager. Well done to Brian, says Thomas. Nathan, who's a Swansea fan, wants me to tell the manager just how much he means to Swansea fans. So, Paolo, if you're watching, he says, sir, you really are the special one. But not so many Owls fans, not just about the bauble, of course, including Jack, Grant and Liam, who says, a point this December is going to be a poor Christmas for us Owls fans. I'd like Mark Hughes as our Christmas present, please. Warren, who's a QPR fan, says, a lot of boos rang out at full time. A lot of us feel the board need to sort themselves out before they sack another manager. You've heard it from them board. Now, Nick says, I'd like to dedicate Posh's win to Roy Keane. I met him at a service station and he predicted we'd win. But Matthew, who's a Leicester fan but was actually at the Posh today, says the pitch didn't look playable but the game still went ahead. How can Peterborough get a game on with no undersoil heating in a new ground? But Cardiff can't in their new stadium. Well, a good question. Cardiff have actually issued a statement. They've said that their undersoil heating hasn't been commissioned yet. It will be next week. And finally, a quick question for Steve from JJ. He says, I noticed Paul McKenna not celebrating his goal for Forest because he used to play for Preston. Can you ask Mr. Claridge, sorry about this, Steve, if you've ever had a problem remembering which fans you can and can't celebrate against?
There's been a fair few as well, haven't there?
I was going to say, 50% of the games I played, I
that was
wouldn't be
a
able
point
to
you'd never
celebrate.
celebrate. Yeah. But
Never stop me, I promise you.
Yeah, I bet it wouldn't. Anyway, now to the game of the day in League One, which was at Ellen Road, where the feeling was Leeds' long unbeaten home record was going to face its sternest test yet by Southampton. Saints had lost just 1 in their last 16 games in all competitions and were unbeaten in their last 8 away. A real test then for Simon Grayson's table toppers.
Even for an informed side like Southampton, Ellen Road is a daunting trip. Saints have won their last 4 league matches, but were soon on the back foot. Luckily, Jermaine Beckford missed his kick on the slippery pitch, and the calls for a penalty cut no ice with the ref. Leeds were setting the pace, and when Robert Snodgrass centred, Luciano Becchio was just a whisker off target. In midweek, Southampton keeper Bartosz Białkowski was the star of the Johnstone's Paint Trophy success over Norwich, saving 3 spot kicks. He's no slouch in open play either. Johnny Howson's effort turned away at full stretch. Next to go close, Neil Kilkenny, with Leeds piling on the pressure. In search of the elusive breakthrough, Simon Grayson withdrew Beckford with 16 minutes to go, a decision the striker seemed reluctant to accept. But the manager was vindicated almost immediately. 3 minutes after the reshuffle, Snodgrass found the top corner with a finish of the highest quality. Just as Saints had started to think they might leave with a point, Leeds were on track for their 19th home league win from the last 22. There was one scare as Saints went for broken stoppage time. Dan Harding dreamt of glory against one of his former clubs, but no joy. Another triumph for Leeds and Grayson, while Beckford may have some explaining to do.
Every decision that I make is trying to be the right one for the football club. I'm not going to get everyone right, and obviously Jermaine's a little bit disappointed he got taken off, and I'm disappointed with his reaction, but it's something that we'll talk about after the weekend.
Yeah, so great time for Leeds. You were there for 8 years, weren't you, Gary? These are good times for them.
Yeah, Sam Grace is doing a great job there, you know. They've still got the fan base, they get great crowds and flying out at the top of the league. And it's amazing, you know, during this season, how many late goals they score.
Yeah.
You know, like that one again, they've scored a few in the last couple of minutes, and again, it was a late one to win that game against an informed Southampton.
That was their 7th game in 21 days. So, you know, you make an excuse perhaps for fatigue, but for goals like this, you just can't legislate against them, can you?
No, he's having a good season, Snodgrass, isn't he? And no, that's a good sign when you're not relying just on Beckford to win games of football. And no, they're a good side, and they obviously believe in what they're doing. They're well set up, they're well organised, and you know, to keep going like that right to the very end of games, and you obviously it's a lot of character, and you believe in what you're doing.
Jermaine Beckford will have a stern talking to, won't he, by his gaffer?
Well, he's still an invaluable member of that side, so I think
he'll be back before he goes.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have a partner of the waves just yet with that.
Yeah, I'm sure. OK, South London rivals Charlton and Millwall met for the first time in 13 years. So the game at the Valley was always going to be a bit special, and that's exactly how it turned out.
Charlton's first match with rivals Millwall for 13.5 years was dedicated to the memories of the late Rob Knox and Jimmy Mizzen, fans of the Addicks and the Lions respectively, as the clubs came together to promote awareness of street violence. The game itself was a fitting legacy and included just about everything. 'Tis the season for giving and receiving, and Scott Wagstaff and Sam Sodger gifted Steve Morrison an early goal. It was a game the striker won't forget in a hurry. Morrison scored again before the half-hour to put the visitors in complete control against a side which had not lost at home in their last 16 games. This was Morrison's 8th goal of the season after Andy Frampton had struck the woodwork. Shortly before the Second World War, Charlton went unbeaten in front of their home support for 28 matches, and if they wanted to keep their current record intact, they needed a quick response, and they were helped in that by the Millwall defence. Frampton fouled David Mooney inside the box and was perhaps fortunate to not be shown a red card. Dion Burton scored from 12 yards to start the fight back. And before the break, parity had been restored. Where Frampton may have been fortunate, Najim Abdu was not. His foul on Lloyd Sam led to another penalty, and this time the red card did come out. Millwall had to play the remaining 55 minutes with 10 men. Again it was Burton with the spot kick to make it 2-2. Charlton are top of the form table in League One, having lost only one of their last 11 league games, and the momentum was well and truly with them as they turned that early 2-goal deficit around completely by going ahead early in the second half. Nicky Bailey swooped onto David Mooney's knockdown to volley the Addicks ahead. The TV soaps like a bit of drama at Christmas, and there was plenty more of that to come in the last 10 minutes at the Valley. David Martin looked to have earned Millwall a point as he made it 3 apiece in spite of the efforts from goalkeeper Rob Elliott. But then Morrison, who'd started the match in spectacular fashion with a brace of goals, scored a third in the afternoon, but this time in his own net. With 5 minutes left, a fantastic match seemed to have provided the crucial moment. But matches like this often don't deserve a loser, and 2 minutes into 5 minutes of injury time, second half substitute Danny Schofield ensured that there wasn't one, as he earned Millwall a valuable point, denying Charlton a 5th straight win in the process.
It was certainly an entertaining game, a bit too entertaining for my liking, and scored 4 goals at home. You obviously expect to win the game. Got to give Millwall credit because with 10 men they did put in a very good performance in the second half.
I was going to be an intense type of game when we're coming to a big club like Charlton with its recent history and tradition, but good performance. I'm pleased with the point, and most importantly I'm pleased with the performance because there's been too many away from home that haven't been there, quite frankly, and it was there today.
Well, like I said, 13 years before those two last met, it certainly was worth the wait, wasn't it? 8 goals in that meeting.
Fantastic game of football, and neither side, defended particularly well. Neither side probably will look at it and think, what might have been, but it was all in all. I mean, they both contributed to a fantastic game of football.
It has been a good season for Nicky Bailey. I mean, but he's now changed position, hasn't he?
I'm pleased he has. I mean, he did start off left-hand side, and he came from Southend. Playing down the, in the middle of the 4 in midfield, and as you can see, when he scores and turns up and scores goals.
He has got an eye for a goal for a central midfielder. To have an eye for a goal is a great asset to have, and it's midfielder scoring goals, he's from wide or playing off the front two, but he's actually a central midfielder who can score goals, which is a good asset.
It was interesting, none of Charlton's squad have played in a derby like that because it's been so long, but they don't have to lift themselves for a game like that, do they?
No. I mean, it was a full house, so it's only 5 miles down the road from Millwall. You know, Millwall had their allocation, so they're the sort of
3-mile round trip.
Yeah, I mean, they're the sort of games that you don't have to get yourself up for because the crowd and the atmosphere do that for you.
Yeah, it was a terrific game. Now, goals were almost guaranteed in East Anglia as the league's top 2 scorers met at Carrow Road, with Norwich up against Huddersfield.
A meeting of the 2 most potent attacking forces in English football. 45 league goals from each side before this one. Lee Clark says he enjoyed his time as Glenn Roeder's assistant at Norwich, and Huddersfield's boss was keen to swap pleasantries with the latest man in charge before his side did their best to make Paul Lambert uncomfortable. The Terriers dominated the first half without overextending Norwich keeper Fraser Forster, wayward finishing they'd regret. The pressure continued after the break. Former Ipswich man Gary Roberts went close and finally roused Norwich from their slumber. Wes Hoolahan was increasingly influential, picking out Chris Martin. How he missed was a mystery, so next time Hoolahan decided to do it all himself. From the moment he collected the ball just inside the Huddersfield half, the Irishman only had eyes for goal. Clark called the scorer one of the division's most technically gifted players, and Hoolahan proved that point again with a wonderful pass for Martin. This time, no mistake. 5 minutes after that, any lingering hope of a Huddersfield fight-back was gone for good. Gary Doherty continued his scoring streak to make the victory absolutely secure. 4 goals in a week for the defender, 7 home league wins in a row for Norwich, despite a shaky start.
It was a massive game against one of our playoff rivals, I suppose you would say. And we knew we needed to step it up from our first half performance, and that's exactly what the lads did. We showed good fighting spirit, and we played some really good football.
At half-time, the first half's forgotten about, and it's gone. It's in the history books. You're remembered for your second half. So the second half, we weren't good enough.
MK Dons have lost their way after a good start, and having got this game on, they would have been hoping for their first home win in the league since October. But it was a case of missed opportunities for the Dons as they failed to score for the first time in 12 league games. Jermaine Easter, the most profligate, missing a number of chances, none better than this one. They perhaps knew it wasn't going to be their day when Aaron Wilbraham's well-timed header came crashing off the underside of the bar and bounced right onto the goal line. Jason Puncheon picked up the rebound, only for his goal-bound effort to be cleared off the line. And as so often happens, those missed chances proved to be costly as Brentford earned their first win on the road since the opening day of the season with a goal in the 87th minute, scored by Charlie McDonald.
Good result for Brentford. Is that what you call a smash and grab then, Steve?
I think so. I think the stats were 15 attempts on target to 2, and you lose a game of football. I don't think Pundits will be too worried, though, because they've obviously played very well. Just sometimes it doesn't go for you.
1 win in 7 for them. Norwich, a good win against Huddersfield, who can't stop scoring goals as well. Do you see them going up as well?
I do, Norwich, yeah. I think, you know, the first game of the season, they lost 7-0, wasn't it? And who'd have thought it, lying third in the table, and Paul Lambert's done an excellent job there.
He certainly has. Now, playoff contenders Bristol Rovers faced a Tranmere side who are slowly turning things around under Les Parry. So much so, in fact, the club physio has been handed the manager's job until the end of the season. Mark Clemmit went to meet the man who's become part of the club's fixtures and fittings.
Nearly 900 consecutive games working his magic sponge for Tranmere have turned the club's new manager into a cult hero at Prenton Park.
And it's a goal. Oh, I can't believe he's missed that.
There's even a Les Parry Legs Appreciation Society in honour of his preference for wearing shorts no matter what the weather.
Let's go, go on. Go on, get back, shoots, go on. Get back.
Now, though, he's staking his reputation on helping the club avoid dropping into the 4th tier for the first time in 21 seasons.
Attack it! Attack it!
Well, it's a hell of a history you've got with the club. Have you thought about the risk?
No, not really, because what I'll do, I'll bring a physio in on a short-term contract. Then if I get the bullet, he gets the bullets, and I go back to physioing. So there's no risk involved. 5 seconds in and out. As you know, I've supported the club from before I worked there. I had season tickets. My lad had the season tickets. and you know, it's a club that I love. It's a club that I've worked for the past 20 years. So that's one of the pressures, really. I don't want to be the manager to get the club relegated. Well done, well worked.
I think Les has always been in control. He bosses around anyway. He's been doing that for the last 20 odd years. So no, I think it's fantastic for the club, stability-wise, and we know Les. We know what he's about. He gets the most out of the lads. So we're all very, very pleased.
Just get Shooks pushed onto Zoom.
So all the time that you've been physio, have you been a frustrated manager just waiting for your opportunity, or is this by chance?
I think everyone's a frustrated manager, aren't they? Every fan, every player. Now, I've never ever thought that I'd get the job. I've watched managers in the past and thought, you know, that's a good way of doing things, or that's a poor way of doing things. But I didn't dream that I'd ever get the chance. Either that, or that.
So you got no coaching badges or anything like
No,
that?
I did a few coaching courses a few years ago, a lot of years ago, which have run out. But a lot of managers don't coach. I can't remember. John Barnes did a lot of coaching here, but all the other managers, they left it to the coaches, and which is what I do. Hi, I pick it up. You're on the telly there.
Are you going to buy yourself a pair of trousers?
No, I'll stick with the shorts, I think. I know the terrible legs. I know there's nothing that you can say about me legs that haven't been said before. You can't believe that they look like that and they've been weathered every day for 20 years, can you? And I don't even exfoliate or anything, you know.
I can believe that, actually.
I know, I bet you can.
True to his word, even the sub-zero temperatures didn't persuade the new boss to change into long trousers. The performance more than enough to keep him warm. Opponents, Bristol Rovers, en route to their 6th successive away defeat as Craig Curran curled home a beauty just before the half hour. Manager Paul Trollope says the Gas seem to have lost their magic formula on the road. Chris Lyne's head of the closest they came to pulling a rabbit out of a hat. As for Tranmere, there's nothing mysterious about Parry's success. According to midfielder Gareth Edds, a back-to-basics approach has inspired their improvement. The Australian added to the scoreline himself as the boys from Birkenhead made it 3 home league wins in a row without a single goal conceded.
I was nervous when I first took over as caretaker manager, but then I sort of lost that nervousness, and then I was nervous again today. So it was odd. I was standing, and you know, normally once the game starts, that's it, I'm into it. But even once the game had started, I was still, little stomach was going.
Yeah, it's a great story with Les Parry. Is that quite telling, though, Steve? He's got Tranmere back to basics.
Yes, I think so. I think possibly, you know, under the previous manager, that they might have been trying to do a little bit too much with the ball. Maybe he was asking a little bit too much of them. And what he's saying is that we're going to go back to a style of play that we all understand and we're all capable of doing. And it was interesting to see there that he said, I'm nervous. Well, you get the feeling now he's nervous because they're in it now and they can get out of it.
He's got a chance.
Whereas before they were a little bit marooned and they were off the pace. Now all of a sudden he's in the pack and a couple of wins and they'll be out that relegation. So it's a different type of pressure then.
Yeah, sure. Now, 8 defeats in a row for Stockport saw them start the day 8 points adrift at the bottom of League One. A result at Gillingham, one of 3 teams 8 points ahead, then was absolutely vital.
This match in snow-filled Kent only took place due to the work of supporters who helped clear 100 tons of snow off the pitch covering. The club showed their Christmas spirit too. Those who helped get the game on were able to watch the match for free. Those home supporters were then rewarded for their efforts when Dennis Oley scored in spectacular fashion for his first goal in 26 appearances. His snowbound celebration, though, was a little less athletic. Stockport were missing 2 first-choice defenders through injury, with another, Michael Rose, playing through the pain of a hernia, and so they might have expected a 9th straight defeat. They were well on their way to that when on-loan Manchester United striker Fabian Brandy made it 2-0, and that was a celebration. It was soon 3-0 when fullback John Nutter celebrated his 100th appearance for the Gills by scoring his first goal of the season. It was damage limitation after the break for the visitors. Rose's long-range shot avoided everyone to give the few Stockport fans who braved the weather something to cheer about.
We knew it was going to be a difficult game today with the conditions, but all credit must go to the supporters who turned up yesterday and this morning to help the ground staff here get the game to go ahead, because they've worked around the clock.
Clearing the car park and roads around Adams Park was the biggest problem for Wycombe in the cold snap. Undersoil heating meant the pitch was less of a concern. But they quickly had good reason to worry once the action got underway. Dale Stevens sent flying to hand Oldham a 5th-minute penalty. Paul Heffernan had his 100th career goal in sight. Scott Shearer made sure he'd have to wait. The home side made the most of that miss. Just 3 minutes later, Darryl Flahaven was down quickly to deny Chris Westwood, but the keeper could do nothing about the rebound. John Akindi snapping up a simple first of the season. Bristol City's Akindi's in his second loan spell at the club after netting 7 times for Wanderers last season. But after the goal, he blotted his copybook, raising an arm in a pointless spat with Sean Gregan. The consequences easy to predict. Still 3/4 of the match to play, and the Latics wasted no time making use of their numerical advantage. Level just 5 minutes after the red card when Danny Whittaker set his sights from distance. Stunned silence from the home fans. And Wycombe's situation worsened 5 minutes into the second half. Ruben Hazel squeezed home a header to have Oldham full of hope that last week's First League win in 7 was no flash in the pan. The chance to make sure of another success fell to the man seeking his century, but it really wasn't Heffernan's afternoon, hitting both posts with a single shot. Oldham regretted that even more when the scorer's curse struck again. Like Wycombe's Akindi, Whittaker would prefer to forget his second big contribution, conceding the spot kick which Matt Harrold used to salvage a draw with just 2 minutes remaining.
Christmas is a time for giving, not robbing, but the opposite seemed to be true in Swindon, where goalkeeper Peter Brezovan was in a mean mood on his return to the county ground, the big stopper making a number of notable saves. Swindon got their break when Brighton defender Jim McNulty challenged Billy Painter. It seemed innocuous enough, but referee Jonathan Moss saw it as a penalty. Painter stroked the ball past his former teammate Brezovan for his 10th goal of the season. Swindon, in spite of having a good season under Danny Wilson, who celebrates a year in charge next weekend, have only managed 1 clean sheet in their last 13 league matches, and so there was no real surprise when Brighton equalised through Nicky Forster. Alan Sheehan is on loan with Swindon from Leeds, and he was mighty close to beating Brezovan, who didn't know too much about his free kick. Wilson's decision to thrust Charlie Austin into league football has been a good one. The 20-year-old only scored for the first time in the league late last month, but this was his 5th in as many matches since then. Gus Poyet, a one-time assistant boss at Swindon, was also making a return, and his side had excellent chances late on, but it was Swindon who took the points.
Forget state-of-the-art undersoil heating, the oversoil version worked wonders to get Walsall's game on. They were soon wishing they hadn't bothered. Inside 2 minutes, strugglers Orient tested out the goalmouth and found the surface very much to their liking. Ryan Jarvis on target, a warm glow for the Londoners. Their afternoon got even better just before the half-hour when Scott McLeish's shot bobbled to Tamaka Makandawiri. The defender back from a one-match ban with a bang. Walsall's response suggested there were some harsh words at the interval. 13 seconds all it took after the break for the Saddlers to begin their revival. Nobody tackled Peter Till, and his cross was perfect for Troy Deeney. The young striker's superb header was his 7th goal of the season. And number 8 was only 11 minutes away. Till impressive again, and Darren Byfield's assist allowed Deeney to complete the comeback with the help of a hefty deflection. Now the home side had the momentum. But Orient's frontmen were still a danger, and McLeish provided Jarvis with a glorious chance for his 2nd of the match. This time he could only hang his head. But Jarvis was in good company by the finish. At the other end, Byfield sprung the offside trap, only to make an awful hash of his chance to swing the match Walsall's way. All square at the finish.
The West Country was one of the few areas where snow hasn't caused problems, but things have still been a bit icy at Exeter recently as they've lost their previous 3 matches in the league. But Southend's form has certainly not been too hot either, and when Adam Stansfield scored early in the game, the Shrimpers looked on their way to a 7th defeat on the bounce in all competitions. They still created chances. Yabo Ibari is yet to score since joining on loan from MK Dons, and he missed a golden opportunity here. Both sides were reduced to 10 men in the second half. Exeter lost one first after Barry Corr was sent off for kicking Anthony Grant. It was the second time he'd had an early bath this season. And there were no sign of this being a season of goodwill to all men. Boxing Day isn't until next weekend, but no one told Ibery that, as he was also involved in an off-the-ball incident after he got a bit upset with Exeter defender Richard Duffy. He had to go. It finished 10 each in players, 1-0 to Exeter.
Huddling for warmth, the Hartlepool side who faced the chilling prospect of a Boxing Day outing to Leeds. So getting something from this was important, but Sam Williams soon had Yeovil in front. The bare-chested bravado of the travelling fans couldn't inspire their team to break a frustrating pattern. For the third match running, a winning position went to waste. Pool's Andy Monkhouse kept his head and on his feet, taking Yeovil's draw tally to 10, the highest in League One.
Not sure about the playing service there, but Gillingham back to winning ways, we saw there, didn't we? Against a rather struggling Stockport County side. Gillingham needed that win, though, Gary, didn't they?
They did, and you can see why they made such an effort to get the game on with Stockport struggling so much. You know, after getting promotion last season, it's been a steady start, great finish there from Ollie. It's been a steady start for them. Mark Stimson will be wanting to carry that on. Again, another good strike there from John Nutter. It was a great goal.
Yeah.
But like I say, after getting promotion last season, he wants to get to 50 points as quickly as possible.
And clubs are sniffing around Simeon Jackson.
Yeah, that's the big key. If they are going to stay in League One, they're going to have to try and keep hold of Simeon Jackson if they can.
A word for Oldham's Paul Heffernan. You as an ex-striker must relate to these kind of days, I suppose, Steve. One of those days, isn't it?
Of them.
I mean, he missed a penalty, and then, what was it, one shot hit the post, the bar and the post.
Yeah. I mean, as you say, I mean, hit the penalty. This was his chance, actually, after he'd missed the penalty to be the hero. This
That's hit the bar.
I've hit the bar as well.
Yeah, so actually, someone said to me, did I do that? My shots only ever had the actual power to hit one post. They never made it to the other one.
Right, let's hear from League One fans on their emails and texts. Lizzie, what have you got for us?
Yeah, we're going to start off with Charlton Millwall, because I was at that game today and I absolutely loved it, as did many of you who've been getting in touch. Scott says, I've never been to such a brilliant game of football. 8 goals, 1 red card, 2 penalties and an electric atmosphere. Just about everything you need for a local derby. And Carl got in touch, though, to talk about the anti-street violence tribute before the game. He says, it was good to hear and to see the two clubs united. I'm a Millwall fan, and today I felt was a great statement to the wider communities and a great match. Now, Danny says, what a result. He's talking about Norwich here. Need to praise Paul Lambert for a terrific sub. Daryl says he calls himself a delighted Norwich City fan. Paul Lambert must have given the team a brilliant team talk at half-time. They were great in the second half. Lots of Leeds fans talking about Jermaine Beckford. Josh says his behaviour when he was subbed off was totally unacceptable. I don't care that he gets his goals. No one player is bigger than the team. Dean says it won't affect us if Beckford goes in January. Josh says yes, Beckford has been lazy all game, but we need him because his speed makes defenders nervous. But Dan says, I don't think it was fair the way the fans treated him. Booing a player is only going to lower his confidence and won't make him perform any better. Now, lots of Gills fans talking about Dennis Ollie's goal celebration. And Alex and Liam want to give a shout-out to everyone who cleared the pitch today and made sure that the game went ahead so they could get 3 valuable points. But Jonathan, who's a Stockport fan, says, yet again we were the better team, but again we couldn't convert and lost. Keep the faith. Gary Ablett. Now, finally, a question for Gary. Freddie says, as you have a Leeds legend on the show, can you ask Gary how he thinks they might do in the Championship if they keep the same team?
We're going ahead one season already, aren't we?
Yeah, if they do get up, I think they'll do very well. I think Simon Grace is a very astute manager, and he's got the team playing really, really well. And with the support they've got at Ellen Road, you know, it's a massive club.
It is great, yeah. OK, now 2 games were due to be played in League 2 last night. Both featured clubs in real danger of dropping out of the Football League. But with Hereford's match against Lincoln falling foul of the weather, it meant Grimsby had a chance to close the gap on one of their nearest rivals.
Plenty of snow on show at Grimsby for the visit of Inform Morecambe, and plenty of credit for the officials and players for giving it a go on what looked like a difficult surface. Despite one home win all season, Grimsby took the game to Morecambe. Jean-Louis Akpa-Akpro, the first to warm the hands of Barry Roach in the visitors' goal. Peter Sweeney is Grimsby's set-piece specialist, and Roach wasn't going to take the chance his free kick might sneak in at the far post. It was much the same story in the second half. Grimsby creating the clearer chances. Robert Atkinson saw his header tipped over. Playing football on a tricky surface was no easy task, but it was probably harder for defenders than attackers. Adam Proudlock turned and shot, but again Roach wouldn't be beaten in the Morecambe goal. It was inevitable then that for all their dominance, Grimsby should go behind after some less than decisive defending. Paul Mullin taking advantage from close range to make the long trip from Lapland worth it for the visiting fans. Back came the Mariners again, and when Michael Leary's shot was again saved by the impassable Roach, Grimsby must have thought it would take something pretty special to beat him. Morecambe hadn't conceded a goal in their last 5 league games, and they looked set to make that 6 until Peter Sweeney claimed a point for the home side in spectacular fashion. This was the first goal Sammy McElroy's side had let in 530 minutes.
Not a bad goal to finish with as well. League Two really was affected by the weather today, with just the leaders Rochdale v Shrewsbury surviving the big chill.
With a 4-point advantage already at the top of League Two, a great opportunity for Rochdale to pile more pressure on the other promotion chasers. Bournemouth, Rotherham and the rest could only watch with dismay as the scoreline at Spotland conspired against them. Teenage defender Craig Dawson settled the home side's nerves after just 8 minutes, and Shrewsbury fell further behind when Chris O'Grady released Chris Dagnall and then made a beeline for the box himself. O'Grady, on loan from Oldham, took his tally for the season to 10, underlining why the Latics boss Dave Penny can't wait to get him back to Boundary Park when the deal expires next month. 8 minutes after the break, the points were in the bag. Dawson on the end of another Tom Kennedy corner. Not to be outdone, O'Grady fancied a second too and made sure the Shrews keeper David Button was fully focused. The next time he wouldn't be denied. Kennedy's free kick brought the best out of Button. O'Grady's instinctive volley had Shrewsbury eager to hear the final whistle. For the first time in 40 years, Rochdale had put together 6 league wins in a row. The final score, all that remained to be decided. 4-0 could have become 5 if Jason Kennedy had made a better connection, but the job had been done regardless.
Well, there's no doubt about it. These are great times for Rochdale and their fans. They could finally get out of this division, couldn't they?
They could. I mean, they've come very close in the last couple of years, and Keith Hill looks like it's one of those where the dartboard is just measuring up, and now he's hit the treble 20.
Yeah, Chris O'Grady, 2 goals for him. They're going to fight tooth and nail to keep him away from Oldham, aren't they?
They work well. He's played extremely well. I mean, everybody seems to be playing their part, and a good couple of goals today as well. Yeah, they're going to lose 1 or 2 in around Christmas, January time, and he'll have to provide some sort of safety net if that does happen.
I mean, if you're on the coaching staff there at Rochdale, Gary, you know one of 4 players like Chris O'Grady. They're all key to your promotion bid. You're going to lose them in January.
I think those players playing in a team like that who are playing so well, they want to go back to a club where they won't be playing the first team. They want to stay there and see the season through. If there's a possibility they can do that, I'm sure the players will want to do it, but there is a possibility that they could lose the manager if he keeps going.
I'll tell you what, you'd be surprised how much when you're actually part of something, that you don't want to go back to being a bit part. People say about squads and that, but if you're not playing, if you're not a part of the side that is winning games of football, you don't feel part of that club.
And the irony is, of course, Oldham can't score at the minute, and then they've got a player who's out on loan, who's doing the business for us.
I mean, perfect example, Billy Sharp.
Yeah.
Couldn't do the business at his place. And goes. It's not always a matter of fact of just going back to your parent club and everything being okay, because that doesn't always work. Sometimes it doesn't work out at one club. You need a change of environment to flourish.
Dare I say, there will be a fair few Rochdale fans emailing and texting through. So, Lizzie, what can you tell us?
More than ever before. Hello there, Rochdale fans. John says Keith Hill has to be Manager of the Year. 7 points clear on League's second lowest budget and crowds under 3,000. Peter says, first time in our history I can remember us being top at Christmas. Martin says, Rochdale are playing